All right, boys and girls, we are going to continue reading our holiday read aloud, and we are up to Santa's magic suit. Everyone knows that Santa wears a bright red suit, but did you know he used to wear a green one? Many years ago, Santa would set out on Christmas Eve wearing a beautiful green woolen coat and trousers made for him by the elf tailors. Green is a favorite color of the elves because it reminds them of their leafy woodland home. The woolen suit was thickly woven, heavy, and warm, but after many years of protecting Santa against the worst of the winter weather, it became rather worn. The elf tailors knew that Santa needed a new suit and were determined to make him the most wonderful outfit ever worn. They asked the fairies to help them find the best cloth. The fairies traveled the world gathering the finest spider's silk. Then they spun the silk into yarn using fairy spinning wheels and wove the yarn into cloth on wooden looms. And when they showed the cloth to Santa, he was amazed. "This is the most marvelous cloth I've ever seen," he said. "It's as light as air and shimmers like the mist. I can only see one I can see only one thing wrong with it. If I wear a suit made from this, I will shimmer too like a misty ghost, and I don't want to frighten young children who spot me on Christmas Eve." The fairies all giggled. They had already thought of this, and their final touch was to make the material as cozy as possible, so they conjured up a magic spell that captured the soft, dry warmth of a summer sunset and bathed the cloth in a rosy crimson glow. By the time the elf tailors had finished, Santa's suit, the different layers of the magical fabric, had combined to give the rich red color that is now so familiar to us. I'm going to slide it open because his closet door is going to open, so I want to make sure you can see those pictures. Spider's silk cloth. Spider's silk is one of the strongest materials in the world, stronger than even steel. Yet the strands are soft and can stretch up to half their length without breaking. This enabled the fairies to give their cloth magical properties. The fibers in each layer of Santa's suit become fluffier or thinner, depending on the weather, and keep Santa warm in the cold climates and cool in the hot ones. The cloth is so tough that when they make Santa's suit, the elf tailors couldn't cut it with normal scissors, so the fairies cut it for him by flitting along each marked seam and dissolving the threads with their wands. Right over here we have the fur trim. The soft fur trim on the collar and cuffs of Santa's suit, as well as on his hood, is there to protect his neck and wrists should ice ever form on his suit. Each spring, apprentice elf tailors gather white fur shed by creatures such as the Arctic hare and use it to weave fresh fur trim for Santa's suit. So here we know this is our famous red suit. It's not green anymore. I'm going to just adjust the camera a little bit. Get a really good look at Santa's closet. All right. Undies. For comfort and warmth, Santa likes to wear long thermal cotton underwear. Shirt. As Santa dresses for his journey on Christmas Eve, the elf tailors present him with a new shirt embroidered with images of children, reindeer, and snowman. Just a pinch of fairy dust makes the children jump and play, and the reindeer gallop and the snowmen dance. Socks. Santa loves his soft woolen socks and gets several new pairs every year, all made for him by Mrs. Claus. Well, what else would you give Santa for Christmas? Boots. Lined with the same material as a suit, Santa's boots never let in the cold or damp. Even so, Santa still likes to warm them by the fire before he sets off on Christmas Eve. Magic feathers. There's a special pocket in Santa's suit for magic snow owl feathers. Should a child sneak a glimpse of him while he's delivering presents, Santa simply lets a feather fall. As it wafts back and forth, the child drifts into a deep sleep before the feather hits the floor. Fairy dust. There are a few problems that a pinch of fairy dust won't solve, so Santa makes sure he always carries several bags of fairy dust in a special pocket. His magic notebook. That's the notes about each child, including what presents they are getting, magically appear in his notebook as Santa visits each home. The notes change to those for the next child as soon as Santa gets back into his sleigh. His belt buckle. If a chimney is too small, or there simply isn't one at all, Santa just rubs his magic buckle to either shrink himself down to size or to turn into a cloud of fairy dust. Then he can get through the tiniest of cracks. And last but not least, his earmuffs. Santa has fluffy earmuffs inside his hood that play sweet music to him while he's out on Christmas Eve. So that's all about Santa's magic suit. Let's get this camera right back up so we can turn the page and see what is next. Oh, this is also another big page. This is all about Santa's sleigh. During its hectic voyage around the world on Christmas Eve, Santa's sleigh is battered by terrible snowstorms one minute and baked in the scorching heat of the sun the next minute. When the sleigh returns to the North Pole, the elves whose job it is to look after it know that once the Christmas party is over, they will have a tough time repairing it and restoring it to tip-top conditions. Santa's sleigh has many special features. These include jingle bells, such as those on the reindeer's harness that Santa silences simply by whispering, shh, a food warmer to keep the reindeer's moss and lichen pies hot, and a water cooler to provide cold drinks while visiting hot countries. It's important that the reindeer are properly fed and watered so they have the energy to work their magic and fly around the world. I'm going to slide it over. Normally, a reindeer can run at almost 49.6 miles per hour, but when pulling a loaded sleigh, Santa's team can only manage about 31 miles per hour, and at that speed, it would take a whole month to travel around the world. Luckily, thanks to a sprinkling of fairy dust and Santa's magic bubble timer, when the reindeer take to the skies, time just disappears. All right, so right now we're going to go through all the different parts of the sleigh. So up here, we have the lightning lamps, and each one of those contains a bolt of summer lightning. Santa just simply removes the blackout disc from the lens to light up the sky. We have the cargo hold. So this is the enchanted cargo hold, magic compartment where the presents are kept. It never gets full, no matter how much is stored there. We have the shock absorbers, which allow Santa to make quiet and gentle rooftop landings. We have the silencer skids, which are special runners that carry the sleigh across the snow with barely a whisper, which is probably why we never hear them. We have the altitude regulator, which controls the height at which the sleigh flies. The bubble timer, which is what stops time so Santa and his team can travel the world in a single night. The positioning globe, which tells Santa where he is in the world. And if I open this up, in this little magic compartment, there's an eye shade, which is a magic umbrella that casts a shadow over Santa and his team, making them visible not only to the naked eye, but also to radar and other detection systems. This is also his fairy dust storage, which holds as many bags of magic dust as Santa will ever need. His food warmer, which holds 9 moss and lichen pies for the reindeer, plus 5 toasted cheese sandwiches for Santa. The water cooler, which provides cold drinks for hot climates, and the cookie jar for when Santa gets peckish. Over here, we're going to learn a little bit more about these special features. So, the two most interesting gadgets on Santa's sleigh are the positioning globe and the bubble timer. Both rely on powerful magic. The globe is an exact model of the Earth that is suspended in a beam of pure light just in front of Santa's seat. A pulse of red light on the globe shows Santa exactly where he is in the world. And there's a very similar, larger version of the positioning globe that sits in the Great Hall at the North Pole, so that everyone can keep track of Santa's progress. And then the bubble timer, which uses the most powerful magic of all. It is a glass ball filled with a thick gel, and when the ball is spun, lots of bubbles appear and join together to make one big bubble. The sleigh is then magically suspended in its own time, bubble that makes time stand still. This enables Santa to make his journey around the world in just one night. As the bubble inside the bubble timer slowly dissolves back into smaller bubbles, the magic wears off and the ball must be spun again. So those are all the different parts of Santa's sleigh. I'm going to read one more page. It's a good one. It's what happens when he travels around the world. And we have a sneak peek of Santa's diary. It tells us what he does in January. He scraps the old lists to start making a new list. So right away, right at that first start of the year. In February, he thinks of ideas for new toys. In March, first group of elves head south, party. In April, he assesses new reindeer recruits. In May, young elves start work, another party. In June, he needs a haircut and a beard trim, possibly a party. In July, the elf school's awards ceremony, party. In August, it's the wedding anniversary on the 12th, party. September, the first group of elves return, so it's party time. October, they start reading mail. November, they read mail. December, they read mail. They try on their snowsuit, go on a diet, check all toys are ready. Is there enough wrapping paper? Select the reindeer team with the sleigh master, test drive the sleigh, check the bubble timer, check the positioning globe, check the lightning lamps, fill the cookie jars, test the fairy dust, test the new toys, decorate the Christmas tree, visit department store helpers, check the list twice, find out who's naughty or nice. And December continues. Study the flight plan, add any new deliveries, pack special presents for Harriet in Manchester, check hot water bottles for leaks. Are sleigh bells still jingly enough? Supervise loading of sleigh, study the world weather reports, thank everyone for their hard work, deliver presents on Christmas Eve. Do not forget a gift for Mrs. Claus. Return home for Christmas party, then it's rest. And if in here, he has his map of the world. It's his route map. So I'm going to try to bring it up really close. If you see all the red lines, that's where all he travels to, all the different parts. I'm going to tuck that away so I don't lose that. Maybe one night I'll take Killian and Kyle. We'll see if we can find him on Christmas Eve. All right. On Christmas Eve, traveling the world, Santa sets out from his home in the North Pole to begin his long journey around the world. First, he travels south across the Arctic Ocean and down into the Pacific, where he visits countries such as Australia and New Zealand. His work begins here because this is where the sun first rises on each new day and where people first celebrate Christmas morning. From here, Santa follows a zigzag route from north to south and back again, rapidly moving westward across the globe and always staying ahead of the dawn. Because the time is different in different parts of the world, when Santa is in Paris, children in New Zealand will have opened their presents and be prepping for lunch. And as he delivers gifts in New York, it will be breakfast time in London. Santa could never cover such vast distances without a little magical help. Even traveling very fast, it would normally take a whole day to fly in a straight line around Earth. But Santa, with all his zigzagging back and forth, travels millions of times faster than this. And he has to do it all in a single night. He simply couldn't manage it without his magic bubble timer, which makes time stand still as he races from one place to another. Reindeer prefer the cold, so when visiting warm countries such as India and Brazil, Santa flies high in the sky where the air is cool. To stay on course, he uses his gigantic landmarks such as the Himalayan mountains or the mighty Amazon River to guide him, because they're easy to spot from high up in the sky. Then he swoops down swiftly to make his deliveries as fast as possible. In colder countries, Santa flies lower using tall buildings such as the Eiffel Tower or the Empire State Building to guide him. Sometimes when there are low-flying clouds or heavy snow, he has to fly even lower to see where he's going. And if he does not have the magic eye shade activated, that's when he's most often spotted. This blurb right here talks about snow. The snow you like to use to make a snowman is actually a collection of crystal flakes that form when water high up in the clouds freezes. This then falls as snow, and snowflakes can clump together as they drift earthward, but begin their journey quite separately. Snowflake crystals usually grow 6 very small arms, like a star, as they freeze. Each flake freezes in its own space in the cloud, so the chance of ever finding 2 snowflakes that are exactly the same is very unlikely. A snowflake is nature's own miniature work of art, almost as unique as a fingerprint. All right, I'm going to stop there. We are getting towards the end of the book. This next section is titled Delivering the Presents. I'm thinking they spotted Santa, but I'm not gonna ruin any secrets here. Check with you later. We'll finish the last few pages.